actually will understand this very well. We are looking for meaning. There are songs that are sung in the popular Indian movies that ask for meaning. What does life really mean? I'm not God, I'm not the devil, I'm a human being, but what does that mean? To find a coherent set of answers, John, to the existential questions of life. That's what brings meaning into my own soul. The Greeks would talk about it as sort of harmony. Now we talk about it as sort of coherence with the culture, or we use sociological terms like shared meanings of the past. All of these are anchored to one idea, that in my life I have found meaning. And to me, the irony is the most successful, even the most wealthy, will tell you they're still looking for it. Sort of Lee Iacocca, the tycoon from the days of automotive success in his life, he said, here I am in the twilight years of my life, still wondering what it's all about. I know this, he said, fortune and fame are for the birds. Jack Higgins, I've learned that when you get to the top, there's nothing there. Boris Becker, the great tennis player, who said, his biggest struggle was still with suicide, having attained all these trophies. The loneliest moment in life is when you have just experienced that which you thought would deliver the ultimate, and it has let you down. To me, as a 17-year-old, that was the question. Moral issues and all, they were all theory. But existentially, what does my life really mean? Why am I here in this world? What have I accomplished? And what is life beyond the grave? So meaning is the existentially relevant issue to which Jesus Christ really speaks and brings me back into a relationship with him, from which I define all other relationships.
I love the story of you when you were speaking in Manila, in the Philippines, and a young man stood up in the back of your lecture when you were talking about does life have meaning. Tell what happened.
Yes, I finished my talk, and this guy just springs up. I like to give them at least one ground rule, which is keep your question brief and one question per person. But he just shouted out, he said, everything in life is meaningless. I said, that's not true. You don't mean that. He said, yes, it is. And we went back and forth. I said, no, you don't mean that. He said, yes, I do. I said, say it again. He said, everything in life is meaningless. I said, you don't really mean that. He said, I do. Who are you to tell me I don't? I said, all right, let's have this interaction remain standing. I assume that you assume that what you just said was meaningful. Am I right? And he just paused. I said, because if what you just said was meaningful, then everything is not meaningless. On the other hand, if everything is meaningless, what you just said was meaningless too. In effect, you've really said nothing. You're free to sit down. And he just stared at me, John, like I'd sort of stabbed him in the chest. And what's a true part of the narrative is, to continue, as I finished and we were walking out, I saw this guy standing at the back, pacing the floor. If what I just said was meaningful, then everything is not meaningless. So I went toward him, put my arm around him. I said, I know what you're struggling with. I said, I know why you're saying it. I said, do me a favor. I'm speaking at a local church tonight. Why don't you come? And I'll give you some private time after that. He came. And John, when the invitation was given that evening to trust Jesus Christ, he was the first to step out of one of those seats there, walk up to the front, drop on his knees at the altar, and surrender his life to Jesus Christ. This is what Jesus meant when he said, I'm come that you might have life more abundantly, which put simply means he puts it all together to bring you the wealth of your inheritance as a creature created by God.
Ravi, we're